Hey YouTube, what's up? Dr. T here, and welcome to the Altcoin Express and my hometown of St. Petersburg, Florida.
So, in this section, we will deal with all things pertaining to artificial intelligence, otherwise known as AI.
So here we have what is going to be called Sensor World and a taste of things to come. Originally I started off with a world without being able to see anything in it, which was like the grid world, and that was the first post, and the second post enabled us to be able to have this agent move automatically up the pathway on the grid, which we should be able to look at here. And this was worked out minimalistically so that the agent can move up there. Going a little fast here, but I've decided to expand upon that. So a taste of things to come. We're developing a much larger world because we want to involve neural networks in this time. So here is the new world that I created the other day and we've just built. This is the final state, and this is the pit in which you will get a negative reward. And the next stage of affairs is to define the complete state space. And in order for us to do that, first of all, we have to define the shortest route to the goal, because this will be the optimum policy in order to reach the goal and obtain the highest rewards and give us a means of finding it. So this is the optimal route, the shortest route possible to get to this goal, which will have a number associated with it, and which then will be recursively fed back into these units, and there will be values in here. That said, these states will then be permeated back around through all these other states to give us some non-optimal states. And from here, the value starts off here as whatever it be. It doesn't really matter what it is, 1 or 100, it's going to be normalized anyway. So these can be calculated. They will be calculated at whatever gamma times the reward in here gets to be. Usually it's set at 0.9. So if this was 1 and that's 0.9, gamma's 0.9, you'd have 0.9. And then it would be 0.9 times 0.9 and so on and so forth. And that would be the optimum route. Now coming off here, going up here, we'd have a similar value here. It would be deprecating around until it started to go below, and so on and so forth around this lot until we have a whole series of numbers coming through all of these states, which appropriately are deprecated in some pathway. Now we need all of these numbers because in order to run a neural network, we have to know what the data is specific to each of these states. And that data is called your maximum. Where we can go onto Wikipedia for a little time. We are looking to obtain the optimum value of each of the states, which is given to us by finding what the maximum value is for each of the states given the policy. Now we've just defined what the policy is, the shortest route to the goal, from which we will get values along that pathway and then recursively decrement it around the rest of the pathway. Each of those will give us a value, and we need those values because in order for us to run neural networks, we will need that value, and that is the current state of affairs. So it's just a little taste. Oops, where are we? A little taste of what's to come. We'll put this back up here. So we've seen that we have an agent, it's not on here. So from here on out, what will happen is these numbers will be put all the way around here. The values for all of these states will be put in here and all the way around here. And then we'll be in a position to move onto neural networks, which will require the input of data from each of these into a neural network, from which a calculated output will be given, which will not be the same. And then we'll use the neural network through each of these passes that it goes through eventually to improve its data and run the deep neural network. And this will be, as it is, it will be a deep Q network, and we are going to try and move on to the next level of this work recently published called double Q-learning, which I don't know much about, which we'll learn something about. So that's kind of a current situation where we are. And when I've got more things put into here, worked out the aspects of the neural network, we'll come back and describe how you go about building a neural network and interfacing it with this and running the agent and making it all work.